Let's kick it off. 19, here we come.
Start with Sean Darcy. Where's he at? How's he going with his hamstring? He pulled up sore after the intra-club.
Yeah, it didn't hurt his hamstring.
Sorry.
Come off tight. All good. Scans all negative. We straight line run him. He just had some neural, just back tightness that they're working on. So we expect him to train tomorrow and play in the JLT, which he's been named, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
When do you?
Which is, we're obviously with Aaron out, and he's really quite important to us, you know. So.
Is he your nominal number one ruckman now, Ross?
Well, based on his performance in the intra-club, against our other couple of our young guys, he got his hand to the ball the most. And although Rory Lobb, when he went in there, can really get his hand to the ball. So he's really earned that with performance. But yeah, I think if you ask the playing group, Scott Jones and Lloyd Meek are competing really strongly to bridge that gap. So it's not like by the length of the Flemington straight, but we've seen him play good AFL football against quality ruckmen. So we got some real belief in him that he can stand up, and he's a fierce competitor. He's probably got his nose in front at the minute.
How do you use Aaron, given he's got now a bit of a calf issue again, and does he become a person that I guess supports Sean in particular if he gets tired or he starts to struggle a bit with the load?
Yeah, we would prefer Aaron fully fit and available, and then it'd be a difficult choice with full availability with Rory and Sean and Aaron. The reality of Aaron is he did have a couple of setbacks with his calf that were very deflating for Aaron as well. So in the last couple of weeks, and they were really concerning, but in the last couple of weeks he's made some strong inroads, starting to get moving, so he's feeling better within himself. Regardless of that, he's always been able to, and maybe because of his background, he did it the hard way, a rookie list player, and he's really mature. So Jen and Aaron, Jenny's wonderful, get them around the young guys and embrace them, in particular Sean. So he's continued that mentoring role, and as a young player, it's nice. Like league football is, as you know, is a difficult road at times, and particularly for ruckman. So he really goes about that in an incredible manner, where he gives of himself, even though it's been challenging for him. So we were coming in looking to alternate as best we could. We've seen experiences. Roger Merritt, I went to Brisbane for that year. He only played the home games, when he was playing into his mid-30s, and he was super, kept me out of the cold of Melbourne. But flight's a challenge, and it's such a physical role. So at the minute, we haven't got that opportunity, that decision to make. But hopefully that will come. Hopefully that will come.
Are you excited? You've got tall targets to aim at, which is probably something you haven't had since 2015, probably, because Matthew was getting on a bit in 2016. The fact that you've got Lob, Hogan, Taberner. Yeah,
more than even that. We're excited about the summer, but there's 18 AFL clubs standing up saying they're excited, and we're looking for full availability. And we can take it back to the training camp on the Gold Coast. We rolled out the game plan and modifications then, so had real clarity from that. Before Christmas, we've had 31 players come to the club in the last 3 years, which is significant. But when I first came to the Dockers, there was 31 or 30, about the same number had come in the last 3 years. So I remember speaking back then, you determine the future of the club. And we've had that discussion, and they've really embraced that. There'll be additions that come and go, but basically this is a core group that will determine our future and our immediate future of the club. So let's get together. So built strong relationships up there. We worked hard. They had great clarity. We've refined our program to make it as time efficient as possible, and the fruition of that is, you're hearing the players in the media and people coming in saying how close they are. They're socialising together. They're training with an energy. And for a coach, what you want is when you're teaching here that has an effect on the track. And we're seeing that consistently. Are we perfect? No. Are we still building to improve every day? Yes. But we're really excited to challenge ourselves, and we want to measure ourselves on effort, great effort and action. And even when you have a winning season in the AFL, you know, teams that finish top 4 still lose 6, 7, potentially 8 games. So you're going to have your losses, but you know, if we can tick off effort and action every week, we will have won and we will continue to improve. So it is really exciting to see. Taberner was exciting last year until he got hurt, you know, and Cox is incredibly exciting. Griffin Logue's had a full summer. So to your point, there hasn't been a lot of competition for the spine, those big key positions, but now it's absolutely, the whips are cracking in there, and as a match committee we haven't had to make really many hard decisions in those areas for a long time. But now there's some really tough match committee where you're thinking you're going to have to make some choices, and a person who's had a strong summer and a quality pre-season may not play round 1, whereas that hasn't been the case. So as challenges that's exciting. And you're right, the ability to go into, you know, McCarthy, Cox, Taberner, Hogan and Lobb is something a bit different for us.
Just on McCarthy, on the small forwards, who's the front runner for you for those small forward roles?
Well, we've got a plethora of small forwards. We've got a lot. Which is good. We spoke about it, you know. Ballantyne, I think, kicked 4 in his last game. Should have kicked 6. So, and he's had a really good summer. You got Switowski. Bailey Banfield has a really good summer there. Brandon Matera's taken his fitness to a really high level and is running and working incredibly hard. So we've only had one intra-club. We would have liked, some other clubs have had hit-outs in Melbourne against other AFL teams. We would have liked that. The Eagles and ourselves tried that, but it just didn't work out date-wise because of the JLT structure. So there's a little bit of unknown and some performances to be put on the board before I could sit there and say. But you'll be able to say it, I think, after the 2 JLT games, you'll be able to really pencil in yourself 18 of the 22, hopefully, because the performances have been strong.
Is that how you tackle this JLT? Is it about competition for spots, or are you looking at a bigger picture?
No, certainly competitions for spots. And I've said for a long time, and not many people believe it, but players pick themselves. I don't really pick the team. I might pick the last 1 or 2, but the majority of spots pick themselves through consistent training, application, and performance, really. You know, so.
Where's Nat Fyfe at with his elbow?
Yeah, he had surgery. He played AFLX and had surgery on Tuesday. I think got out that night on Wednesday. He was in at the club. He was in today, and he gets moving. I couldn't tell you the absolute fine detail of it, but he'll be running and working probably tomorrow. You know, so he won't play JLT 1, and he's really every chance JLT 2. But he has a history. I spoke to him in 2014. I think he got hurt in the first pre-season competition with a knee. Didn't play again, and he said I cost him 3 votes because I took him off at 3/4 time against Collingwood, where we won by 70 points. So that instills a bit of confidence in me that it wouldn't matter even if he didn't get up for JLT. It wouldn't be running fitness. So he's had staples put in. It was a burst. I needed to, in the end, made a decision to manage the risk. Could have done it in season, but then he may miss a game. So this way, the burst won't cost him a game in season, whereas potentially, if we didn't get it done, it could have. So we've been quite aggressive in our approach with it for the greater interest of the club. And Nat, to his credit, could have pushed back on that, but he said, right, this is the best thing for the club.
Was that a flare-up from the AFLX tournament, or was that just a build-up?
No, it'd been there for months.
Oh, I understand that, but the reason for surgery eventually, was that always going to happen regardless of the AFLX?
Yeah, I couldn't tell. Did it flare up at AFLX? No, it was always on the radar, and it was always, at the end of the day, it's often a player decision. And then you get to the point, you're weighing up risk, and we try and eradicate risk. It's like centering the ball rather than having a snap from the pocket, take the percentage. And in the end, we took the percentage play.
What about Conker? Where's he at with that knee infection, and do you expect him to get a
that was an odd one.
JLT game in?
Yeah, he JLT 2. Yeah, so he's running, he's building up. He had a graze, really unique. Became infected, and ended up a 24-hour stay, become like a 72-hour stay in hospital, off leg. So we could move him very quickly, but then you risk soft tissue. So we're graduating. He hadn't missed a session post-Christmas, and he said physically and mentally he'd never felt better. So, but we need to be conservative and getting ready for JLT too.
Jesse Hogan, do you expect him to play both JLT games? He seems to be progressing really well since he arrived at the club.
Yeah, he's progressing really well. Our high performance team has done well to progress him. Navicular's are very serious injuries and one you've got to respect, but he's hit every milestone. You saw him played very well, midfield and forward, and we'll do that in the JLT 1 and 2 games with him. He didn't play the full minutes, but potentially JLT 1 he'll go close, maybe 80%, 90%.
What about, when do you prune your squad, Ross? Because at the moment you've got a squad. When do you get down?
Well, there's been some missteps even from the AFL in regards to, they named 26 and 4, but it was really just a squad of 30. Yeah. So I think Saturday afternoon is final, and that becomes, then it does become 26 and 4 emergencies. So what anyone read in the paper, I think it was sent out 26 and 4. That was actually inaccurate. We had to get around to 4 players and say, you're not emergency because we haven't finalised it. So it's finalised Saturday afternoon about 2 o'clock. And it becomes 26 and 4. And then the clubs can agree on how many interchanges if we wanted to. I think you can agree on make it 22. But I think we'll take the 26 and then it gives you some flexibility. But we know from history it's a little bit challenging trying to get minutes into everybody. You know.
Someone like Bewley, how's he placed for Monday?
Yeah, quite well. He's had a really strong summer. And again, we've only had one serious intra-club to judge him. So he's in the squad and Schultz is in the squad. We'd like to try and get a look at those guys. But then you've got Gyro saying, well, I've had a super summer and I'm training well. So we're going to have to... Michael Walters didn't complete training the day come off. He'd had a cork, just bled a little bit. We think he'll come up. But if he doesn't, and Sean Darcy doesn't, even though we think he will, so there's that flexibility that we're going to require almost to the day. So
you said a few weeks ago you were nervous about your midfield because
in Melbourne.
You're flush with key positions at either end now, but obviously with Connor and Stephen having some issues. How do you feel about that now, heading into, well, Collingwood's got a strong midfield.
Yeah, well, that's their absolute strength. And AFL football's dominated by midfield. The Eagles midfield stood up grand final day, didn't it? So, nervous because we'd like to run deeper, but we're developing that depth of elite talent and trying to, Chera and Brayshaw and Gyro and Croden and Ben. We want those guys to come through there. But so when you're proven performers in there, which is kind of, so you have plans, there's half Stephen Hill at half-back and Connor Blakely, and they can flip in and out, and we know they're really top-flight mids. When you lose them, it just, as a coach, I'm more nervous about, gee, we can get it done from here, but we don't want another 2 or 3 to disappear. That would make it difficult. But with what we've got, the availability, certainly the recruitment of Conker and Collier was important to help, back that up through there. There's no doubt about that. So that's what I meant by that.
Yeah.
You touched on the game plan in the Gold Coast and setting that up for the team. You've got guys coming in, some tall forwards coming in, but how's the game plan changed from last year to spot with not just those guys? Yeah,
but it'd be interesting. I'm not really here to detail it, but I think you can get to JLT and make your observations. But clearly, all teams want to get the ball where they can to their key forwards quickly. But if you just all you do is bomb it in there, teams just players like Luke Ryan and Tarrant and Thompson from North Melbourne, they just roll off all day. So there's subtleties to it, but where you can, you're trying to give them one-out opportunities. And we haven't been a great crumbing team. We've had to improve our fall of the ball, and hence those small guys making sure their focus is getting to the feet of the tall so it doesn't get swept away.
Is Stephen Hill a little ahead of where you thought he might be? Is he a rough chance for round 1 now?
No, we thought that was the case, but there was a little misstep yesterday where he's just had a slight strain, so that's put him back, and they're talking 3 to 4 weeks. So which is disappointing. He's running fit. It was just a bit of a kicking issue, so in the rec fem a slight strain. So if it was any other player, it'd be definitely 21 days. With Stephen, we'll have to assess it and see whether it takes longer. So, behind Stephen, I think I'm next in line, and the Docker community for disappointment. You know what I mean? So, and he's a bit flat about it, but he's very fit, got all his speed. It's just that one area we just got to work through again, unfortunately.
And how's Harley? Obviously no fresh injury, but you've got to try and get him ramped up again. Don't you?
Yeah, it's good. It wasn't a fresh injury. It was that. So he's running. He ran yesterday. It was frustrating because our last December 16, our last session, his output through the midfield was greater than that 5. So that gives you context, and Nat had a good summer. So that gives you context where he got himself to. And unfortunately, post-Christmas, that's just slid a little bit in regards to a few of those slight reoccurrences. So we're hopeful and expectant that he can ramp his fitness back up to that and be a really productive player for us, because it was getting to the exciting stage. Anyone that come and watch training was starting to get a bit excited. So look, he's got to hold himself together well. It's been a big challenge, but the last 4 years tells us it's a challenge, and there's certainly no guarantees. But he's got to work as hard as he can to give him and us the best opportunity for him to come through. He understands that it's a critical period for himself.